Assessment for learning works on the principle that pupils will achieve more when they know where they are in their learning, where they need to go, and how best to get there.
It's to do with an attitude of mind and acknowledging that children need to be active participants in their learning, and in fact that they're very good at self-monitoring their work and able to progress themselves.
This programme looks at how it's applied in a real classroom. Two modern foreign language departments which have chosen assessment for learning as a priority focus are those at Royd School on the outskirts of Leeds and Prince Henry's Grammar School in Otley, West Yorkshire. Maria Vorton is in her second year of teaching at Royd's. Nicola Hobbs is lead professional for assessment for learning in MFL in the local education authority and teaches at Prince Henry's. Nicola will be visiting Maria to take a look at how she's using AFL techniques in the classroom and to share ideas. Maria's teaching French to her top set Year 8 class.
The objective of the lesson is that they're going to be able to assess each other's work and give constructive feedback. So they've already produced a piece of writing about their bedroom. What they're going to do is swap it with the partner, and the partner is then going to try and reproduce a drawing of the bedroom. They're then going to swap books back, have a look together, and make sure that the drawing is an accurate representation of the bedroom, that they've understood what they've read and that the person who wrote it has written the correct things. They're then going to discuss whether they think it's a good piece of writing or not, how it could be improved, where maybe they went a bit wrong.
After a quick starter, Maria begins the peer assessment activity with the class.
Il faut écrire les noms des objets dans la salle. En anglais? Oliver?
Is it like the names of objects you've got in...
Excellent.
When we're going through the assessment criteria, so they know what they've got to put into the piece of work they're going to produce. We do it as a class, so we say, what would make a really good piece of work? What things do you know? What things can you say in French that could go into that piece of work?
La place des objets dans la salle. Helen?
Whereabouts they are in the room.
Excellent.
How can they be expected to produce a brilliant piece of work if they don't know what you're looking for? So you've got to make sure that both you and they are clear of exactly what is expected of them.
Definitely.
Vous allez lire la description dans le cahier et vous allez dessiner la chambre. Matthew?
We read the person's description and then we draw what we think their bedroom looks like.
Excellent. So at this point, there shouldn't really be any talking because otherwise you're going to find out information that you don't need yet.
Did you have any problems at all with them kind of sneaking a look?
I did have to go around and make sure that they weren't, because there were a few that were trying to sneakily say, like, you know, what does this word mean? Or is the wardrobe next to the bed, or is it next to the chest of drawers?
Have you ever done it where you've done like back to back, where you've actually got them kind of sat back to back so they can't even look at each other?
No, I haven't actually.
We do it in another context. We do kind of back to back pair work. And then you put something on the whiteboard that half of them can see, and then they have to relay that information. It's like information gap, but you know, half of them can see it, half of them can't.
Maria moves on to get the pupils to feed back to each other.
What I want you to do when you're checking is see if its bits are wrong. See why they're wrong. Are they the wrong colour? Is it the person who's read it that has got the colour wrong, or did you write the colour wrong when you did your description? So talking with your partner, I'm going to give you about 4 minutes to talk with your partner, discuss it. It doesn't matter if it's wrong, as long as you can see that it is and see where you've gone wrong.
Un armoire, un television, and a wardrobe. It's right. Apart from the Chinese writing. Yeah, I know, but I can't do Chinese writing.
In this activity, obviously because they were reading the description, they're assessing their own reading skills, but by reading what the partner's written and then discussing it with the partner, they're assessing the partner's writing skills as well. So there's 2 of the 4 skills are being assessed there at the same time, so it's quite a nice activity for that.
You need to actually train them in giving feedback, and, you know, and kind of explain to them that you want them to give, for example, 2 areas of positive on a piece of work that they're looking at, and perhaps in one area of, you know, what needs to be improved. The pupils really enjoy working together, and they really enjoy kind of actually assessing each other's work. I think it kind of makes them feel quite, I don't know, special really to be able to kind of, you know, look at someone else's work and give their opinion and perhaps help them and help each other to develop their skills.
I think what we've noticed as a school since using AFL is that students are far more confident across the board, not just in MFL but in all subject areas. The other thing we're noticing is that they feel that they're more actively involved in their own learning. It helps them to realise what they're learning, why they're learning it, and how they can improve their learning.
Let's have some feedback then. Put your hand up if you'd like to tell us something. Did you manage to do it really well? Was it absolutely brilliant? Was it not? Ellis, did you get all your colours right? Everything was brilliant. What about Helen?
I drew most of mine right, but I've got a few things wrong. And Matthew drew mine pretty much right.
Brilliant. So what were the bits that you got wrong? Can you see now why you got them wrong? So,
it's so nice to see them appreciating each other's work and saying nice things and being really positive.
And it just gets rid of the atmosphere where they can't possibly get anything wrong. They don't say anything in case they get it wrong.
No, it's all part of, you know, learning a language, isn't it? Making frequent mistakes. And, you know, once they can overcome that fear of perhaps getting a few things wrong and just going for it, you know, it really helps build their confidence.
I didn't, describe my bed right and the walls, but I got everything else right.
And do you now know where you went wrong with them? Yeah. Excellent. Using the traffic lights in your planners, I want you to show me how well you think you've managed to do objective 1.
Is that planners where they've got the traffic lights with the green number and...
yeah, they're just at the front of the planners, and they've got the green one that says, I've understood this, I'm ready to move on. Yeah. The amber one says, I've not quite got it, I need to spend more time with this. And the red one says, I really don't understand. But if I can see that there's a lot of red traffic lights in the room, then I'll think, right, well, I need to spend 5-10 more minutes on this before we move in, before we move on. And then anything that doesn't get covered in that lesson can be carried over to the next lesson.
Yeah. If your class isn't understanding something, or if they're having a certain difficulty on a point, that you adapt your lesson plan, you adapt your teaching to address their, you know, their needs.
Next, Maria uses a model text on the whiteboard to get the pupils thinking about what makes a good piece of written work.
C'est une description d'une chambre qui a été écrite par un élève de notre classe. Who wrote it? Ruth?
Another class.
Yeah, someone from another class, okay? What you're going to do is when you've found an error or a really good bit, I'm going to come up and I want you to highlight it for me.
Is that bit wrong? Because it only changes...
Excellent.
I suppose the most important thing that they're doing here is not so much finding the error, but the explanation, isn't it? And them actually spotting why is it wrong, because that's what they seem to, you know, you can underline things and put loads of red pen on things, but at the end of the day, they've got to understand, you know, why is it actually wrong in the first place.
Well, that's it, yeah. I mean, you can take books in and spend hours marking them, but do they ever look at what it is, or do they just see the red and not really look at where they've gone wrong, why, and how they can improve it? But with something like this, that's exactly what they're doing. They're looking at why it's wrong.
Because it's spelled wrong.
Excellent. So?
Selima Ilya de Postos didn't fly right.
So Sam came up and he'd highlighted something that he thought was really good, but there were a couple of mistakes in it. So I then asked the rest of the class if they could see what the mistakes were. So then we opened it up, and then also Sam can see from listening to what the other people say where he went wrong, and then he knows now that there was 2 things that he missed in that sentence that weren't spelt correctly. Sam's highlighted that as a really good sentence. James, do you agree with what Sam's put?
Is it wrong because of that l'armoire thing?
No, it's not the L apostrophe, but there is something with armoire. Rebecca? L'armoire's spelt wrong, isn't it? And Helen? The I should be after the O. So
what's really good as well is what you've done is you've just picked all those, you know, they're just so typical, aren't they, those mistakes that they make. Get an adjectives in the wrong place, your kind of typical spelling mistakes that they make.
It's time to introduce some new phrases to the class in order to enable them to extend their written work.
We're going to have a look at some activities you might do in your bedroom now. Je joue à l'ordinateur.
So that they're learning these new phrases or activities they can do in the bedroom, and automatically you're kind of linking it as to what they've previously done, and how they can use those new phrases to improve their work further, and obviously how it kind of links into the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Maria ends every lesson with some time for pupil self-assessment through the use of their records of achievement.
So, when you come to filling in your did you understand it column, you need to look back at the objectives. Do you think you now can read and understand the description of a bedroom? How well can you do that? Can you give constructive feedback on other pupils' piece of work? This is the record of achievement that they have at the front of their exercise books. So every lesson, at the end of the lesson, they fill in the date. They fill in some activities that they've done that lesson to sort of jog the memory when they're looking back. What they've done during the lesson, what they think they've learnt. So this is where they refer back to the objectives. Have they met the objectives for that lesson? And if so, what they were. And something that they enjoyed most, just so we can see, because different groups tend to like different activities, or different individuals like different activities, and we can see what the trend is.
We don't do that at Prince Henry's, in the respect that we kind of get them to actually pinpoint activities that they enjoy doing.
Right.
And that's a really nice idea.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah. I want you to put your hand up. Tell me what you think you've learned in this lesson. What have you learned today? Josh?
How to say what we're doing in rooms.
How to say what you do in your rooms. Brilliant.
So do you review, what they're putting?
Yeah, we can see exactly what they've understood and what they've not. And if there's something that sort of majority of the class have understood, then it's obviously something we need to return to. Or if it's something that just a few individuals have not grasped, then we can have a word with those individuals, try and pick up. And we can also use the what they enjoyed most column to inform our planning, so what activities work best for them.
Something we do at Prince Henry's is we feed back to pupils, we kind of inform them of their national curriculum level, got them to actually look at the criteria.
One thing that we could do is add a target column onto the record of achievement, so that they've got something there to put on at the end of every lesson as well, which would give them something extra to aim for. What were you doing? You were pointing out mistakes and good bits. Well done, okay. And how to improve. Brilliant. Rest of you.
As far as assessment for learning goes, I think all of the different things that we do and all the kind of things we're seeing in your lesson are really important activities in getting them to just become more independent learners. And to take charge of their own learning and to be able to make progress independently in the future, not always just be reliant on the teacher.
Assessment for learning isn't a quick fix. It's not something that you can just introduce and run with for a matter of months. It's something that has to be embedded in the school and has to influence practice across the board.
Children start school in reception as very independent beings, and they develop this sense of helplessness as they work through their school days. I would say that assessment for learning can bring them back to that state of independence. I hear teachers say to me, my classroom is transformed. The children say to me, they are feeling more confident, they know what they're doing, they know what they're heading for, they know how to make things better. That's really good news in the languages classroom.
Okay, this row, au revoir.
It's so interesting watching other people's lessons and just seeing what goes on beyond your own classroom. For me, just seeing those things, it's really useful to think, how can I actually put that into my teaching? I like that idea, it's something that I would like to do in the future.